My name is Promise. You're welcome to IELTS with Abraham Seed, and for this particular video, I'm going to be sharing with you a very simple trick to apply when you are trying to preview questions in the IELTS listening test. One of the major challenges that candidates face on the IELTS listening test is the ability to cope with the pace of the conversations that the speakers will be having during the IELTS listening test. And you know very well that while the recording is ongoing, while the conversations are on, you're expected to think about your questions, read the questions, think about the answers, and then come up with your answers and write them in your question paper. And this can be very, very challenging and Herculean to achieve when you are faced with so much pressure on the IELTS listening test. So I'm going to be showing you one very important trick to apply, whereby you can go ahead of the speakers in order to be able to figure out what they're going to say next, and also to be able to figure out what the right answer is going to be. So I have this question before me. This is a notes completion question type on the IELTS listening. You see the instruction there that says complete the notes below, and I've selected this particular question from part 1 of the past question in the IELTS test. Now, one tip that you need to know, one thing you need to know is that when it comes to questions like this, you're going to have titles and subtitles. And these two pieces of information are the information you need to be able to preview your questions ahead of time. When the facilitator tells you that you have some time to look at, let's say, questions 1 to question 5, for instance, or what we have here, you have questions 1 down to question 7, what you should do is not to read through everything that you have there from 1 to 7. You probably are not going to have that luxury of time. Probably it's just going to be 30 seconds that you're going to have. So what do you do instead? What you do is you read the title. Look out for the title. Now the title here says Children's Engineering Workshops. And that means that this conversation is going to be talking about engineering workshops organized for children. And not just one engineering workshop, but maybe 2 or probably 3. And then the next thing you should look out for are the subtitles there. And we have a number of them here. You have tiny engineers, ages 4 to 5. That means you have a workshop for tiny engineers who are within the ages of 4 to 5. And then you have activities for them. And you could see you have 3 bullet points underneath the activities. That means we have 3 activities for tiny engineers that the speakers are going to talk about. And then you also have another workshop for junior engineers, which is going to be for those aged between 6 and 8. And then you have activities for them, and there are going to be 4 activities for them. Now, apart from that, the next information you have will be about the location of the workshops. That means where they're going to be organizing the workshop, perhaps the school, perhaps the address, and so on and so forth. And so with this information in mind, it means that all you need to be looking for are information regarding the activities that the tiny engineers are going to perform, then the activities that the junior engineers are going to carry out, and also have the costs, that's the cost, and then the period, the duration when these activities are going to be carried out, as well as the location of the events. So that's all that is going to be discussed in the conversation between the 2 persons involved. And so with this information in mind, you should be able to predict the kind of information you're going to hear when this. So at this point now, you're going to listen attentively as we play the recording for these particular questions, and you try to attempt them. And then after the recording is over, you're going to see the answers to this question pop out, and then you'll be able to assess yourself and see how well you're going to fare.
Part 1. You will hear a man phoning to find out about some children's engineering workshops. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 3. Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 3.
Hello, Children's Engineering Workshops.
Oh, hello. I wanted some information about the workshops in the school holidays.
Sure.
I have 2 daughters who are interested. The younger one's Lydia. She's 4. Do you take children as young as that?
Yes, our tiny engineers workshop is for 4 to 5-year-olds.
What sorts of activities do they do?
All sorts. For example, they work together to design a special cover that goes round an egg, so that when it's inside, they can drop it from a height and it doesn't break. Well, sometimes it does break, but that's part of the fun.
Right. And Lydia loves building things. Is there any opportunity for her to do that?
Well, they have a competition to see who can make the highest tower. You'd be amazed how high they can go.
Right.
But they're learning all the time as well as having fun. For example, one thing they do is to design and build a car that's attached to a balloon, and the force of the air in that actually powers the car and makes it move along. They go really fast too.
Okay, well, all this sounds perfect.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 4 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 4 to 10.
Now, Carly, that's my older daughter, has just had her 7th birthday. So presumably she'd be in a different group.
Yes, she'd be in the junior engineers. That's for children from 6 to 8.
And do they do the same sorts of activities?
Some are the same, but a bit more advanced. So they work out how to build model vehicles, things like cars and trucks, but also how to construct animals using the same sorts of material and technique. And then they learn how they can program them and make them move.
So they learn a bit of coding.
They do. They pick it up really quickly. We're there to help if they need it, but they learn from one another too.
Right. And do they have competitions too?
Yes. With the junior engineers, it's to use recycled materials like card and wood to build a bridge. And the longest one gets a prize.
That sounds fun. I wouldn't mind doing that myself.
Then they have something a bit different, which is to think up an idea for a 5-minute movie and then film it, using special animation software. You'd be amazed what they come up with.
And of course, that's something they can put on their phone and take home to show all their friends.
Exactly. And then they also build a robot in the shape of a human, and they decorate it and program it so that it can move its arms and legs.
Perfect. So is it the same price as the tiny engineers?
It's just a bit more, £50 for the 5 weeks.
And are the classes on a Monday too?
They used to be, but we found it didn't give our staff enough time to clear up after the first workshop, so we moved them to Wednesdays. The classes are held in the morning from 10 to 11.
Okay, that's better for me actually. And what about the location? Where exactly are the workshops held?
They're in Building 10A. There's a big sign on the door. You can't miss it. And that's in Fradston Industrial Estate.
Sorry?
Fradston. That's F-R-A-D-S-T-O-N-E.
And that's in Grassford, isn't it?
Yes, up past the station.
And will I have any parking problems there?
No, there's always plenty available. So, would you like to enroll Lydia and Carly now?
Okay.
So, can I have your full name?
That is the end of part 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers to part 1.
Okay, so we've come to the end of this particular video session. I'm sure you enjoyed every part of it. Please like and subscribe to our channel, and in order for you to have access to more interesting content on the IELTS test. Thank you, and bye for now.